here at the
Thank
top.
you.
And you would just have to click on project management. I think all of you have access to this module. If you don't, let me know. You should. And here, this is just a central hub for managing workflows, including the SME and the cruise planning workflow. On this screen, you can see we have a multitude of filters. So you can filter on, first of all, you can filter on identifier, which is the SME or the cruise planning workflow number. You can filter on alternative ID. Alternative ID is assigned by the operator. You can look through on workflows, you will have access only to your workflows, not other institution workflows. And you will have access to the SME application. So you can filter on SME applications or your institutional cruise project management workflow. Filter on the initiator, name, affiliation, the PI's affiliation, stage of the cruise planning workflow. So for example, if we go to Thomson, you can filter on any of the steps within the cruise planning workflow. If they are complete and you click on permits and clearances, you will see all of the workflows which have the permits and clearances complete. I hope that makes sense. Marine areas, you can filter on ocean basins, regions, and they do go into more detail. And then funding sources, whether they're funded or pending. These also go into more detail as well. Grant numbers, whether these SMEs or cruise planning workflows are, whether the SME is published on draft or neither, nor published nor on draft, nor on draft. And then you can also filter on year the SME was submitted and ship on which this SME is put on draft or published schedule. All right. This cruise location comes from the SME, and the marine area comes from a database. So this one is automatically assigned by the system, and this one is a text field within the SME. All right. You can filter on equipment items which are requested on the SME, preferred year that the PIs are requesting, project. Um, Alice, what is this one? Project?
Oh, if it's part of a bigger project. So if it's a one SME, like the Bats might lump all of their projects together. They have multiple SMEs under one big project. OOI, I can imagine is doing that too.
You can filter on requested ships and status. So if just so you're aware, if an SME has been put onto the published schedule and the funding has been submitted, so for both funded and pending, if the funding has been submitted and confirmed, status of the SME will be changed to completed. So if you are trying to look for an SME, so there's a caveat. If you're trying to look for an SME which has been pushed to the public schedule, And if the SME funding step has been confirmed, even if it is pending, the status of the SME will be changed to completed. So if you're looking for an SME and you can't find it, click on the status and select completed as well. There also have been like today, Carrie from Hui has emailed me. There was an SME with a SME number, and she was looking within the and she received a notification with an SME number telling her that an SME has been submitted. But she went in to look for this SME number within the system, and she couldn't find it. Well, that is because the PI later canceled this project. So this is a good tool for you to see if projects have been canceled, completed, or if they're still active or rejected as well. So that's a good tool for you here.
Yeah, I tend to just leave all those active, completed, and canceled on, and then you can find the number and figure out what to do with it. Do you want to talk about selecting specific columns?
Oh, I forgot to mention drafts. This planning status is a good way for you to know whether an SME is already on a draft schedule of some other ship. This is a good tool for you to. Um,
So you can unclick the blanks in the published, right?
yeah, Web 2026.
And so you see here, right, where
Yeah, and an SME can be put onto several draft schedule for several ships. Um,
sometimes over multiple years. So
yeah,
there's one there that's got a lot of different, the Pioneer that's been on a lot of different drafts, right?
yeah. And this is a good tool for you because several operators are scheduling at the same time. So it's good for you to know if this schedule has been put on another ship's draft. Anything else in regards to filters, Alice?
No, I just was thinking of use case scenarios. You know, you can imagine where you want to see only funded SMEs, right? So you can filter on workflow equal to SME and funding status equal to funded particular years. Or if you're, you know, Luke is there and he's like, oh, are there any projects in the Pacific Basin? He can go filter on specific projects in the basin there. Um, we do work hard with the PIs to make sure that they update their funding status. Within MFP, it's their job. So that's been an ongoing, that's a new thing really, for them to have to do that. So we're still teaching them, but they seem to be catching on because they want to get to see. Are there any, go up to select columns too, Stephanie, on the center there. You can actually decide what you want to see in your view. So if you don't want to see all that, you're like you know, text ocean basin doesn't do me any, or text location really doesn't do me any good. But then I would, you know, you can unclick it and you won't see it on this view anymore. You could always get it back. Also a good one is the reset view because oftentimes you'll have filters in there and you forget and you can't figure out why you you can't find your SME. And so just resetting it is a good reminder. Any questions on this screen at all? It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Oh, Hannah's got a question.
Just have a couple of tidbits.
Good, thanks.
This is great. I think this group will understand this analogy really well, but I think of these filters like tuning your radar. You need to know your filters, understand what you're filtering in and out, because you can filter out too much or not filter out enough and have noise. So know your filters like a radar. I know this is being worked on. UNOLS is working on this, but right now, whoever submits the SME is listed as the PI, so just know that. Um, and then for the drafts, for the planning status, we've been using asterisks at the start
Yeah.
of our lead drafts. So when you see multiple ships, because projects bounce around on different ships in different years through the scheduling process. And so that asterisk is going to show you the lead schedule for that ship. So you can kind of narrow down, is this really scheduled on a draft or not?
Yeah, good call.
John, you have a
Great.
question?
Thanks, Hannah. Don.
I had a question on the filter for like ship. If I select like my ship, or I want to see if you guys do it, and then you click on an identifier, sometimes it seems like it loses the filter and then you got to go back and do it again. I just want to know if that's something I'm doing wrong or
Uh,
F.G. Walton Smith, I think is how it's typed. I don't know if it has to be verbatim.
it would be nice if that was a drop down, huh?
Yeah.
It's Walton.
Yeah.
You got
Uh,
Walter. There you
Okay.
go. All right. So
so,
if you click on one of the identifiers, just pick anyone,
This one?
anyone.
Okay.
And then if you go back to project manager, or do you have to use
you
the
know
back
what, Don?
button? Do you have to use
You
the
need to
back?
use the back button.
Okay, that's where I'm
Yeah.
going.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That makes sense? Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back.
Oh, that's interesting though, because on some of the filters it does save your last filter. So that's a good question, Don. I don't know. Some of them it saves it, and some of it doesn't. So know that when you go back in, you might have a filter saved from previously. So it's just good to start with your own or
Yeah,
with a
that's where
reset.
it helps do that reset view because then it just defaults everything back. So,
Right, right.
yep,
I
that's it.
think what Hannah said was makes sense too. It's like you got to
Right.
know where it can be super powerful, but like she said, you can over filter or under filter, and then you think you're looking at something and you're not. So, um, are we good there? Did you have more to say, Stephanie?
No, I was just gonna move on. If any nobody has questions about filters, I was just gonna move on to talk a little bit about the linkage of
Oh, sure. That sounds great.
applications and the cruise planning.
Hmm.
All right. I think most of you are aware, but if you're not, once an SME is put onto a public schedule, you will get what is called cruise planning, and cruise planning is the are the steps to help you with cruise plan uh, to plan your cruise. But the number is different from the SME. But if you do click on the SME, then you will see that the two are linked together. The application, the SME, and the cruise planning step, they're linked together, but they are two different numbers. I also wanted to mention that sometimes PIs request for us to open up their SMEs or to open up the confirm funding and grant step. But you can open these up yourselves by clicking on the three tabs. And instead of going to us. They're welcome to come to us as well, and we can open the steps. But if it's faster, just go through you. You can click on the three steps and open the SME or the funding and grant step for them as well. Most of you should have the permissions. If you don't, let me know.
Please use the open, not the rollback. So,
I also wanted to mention that these cruise planning steps vary between institutions. Some use them, some use have steps to a greater extent. So if but we welcome you guys to start using the cruise planning workflow with more steps, and we can activate them for you. So if that's something that you're interested in, we can always work with you. Yeah, should we talk about project roles?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, project roles. So we have ground data and we have templates. I'm not going to go probably into too much detail, but I do want you to be aware that you can assign responsible users to the steps via ground data on a cruise basis, or you can assign users to all of your cruises. I also do want you to be aware that you can add links or documents via ground data to any of these steps. And I want you to be aware that we can adapt any of these steps to your institutions. So if you would like to ask more information, if you would like to edit any of these steps, all right. Does anyone have questions? Or Allison,
Yeah,
do you
let's
have
just do a
any
quick one. Yeah, so the project roles on this screen in that top left corner there, those are for this specific cruise. And the way those are used, obviously everybody knows what a chief scientist is. The science party technical lead is somebody, let's say that the chief scientist can't do it all and they have a super tech. You can put them in as a science party technical lead and assign them to some of these workflow steps to be able to have them edit some of those steps. Or pooled equipment leads were there, and those are people from CSAM, so they can go in and change those steps. So those are pretty powerful on a per cruise basis. Okay, any questions on any of that? I mean, that's kind of a real quick roll down of project management, but which maybe we can
Alex,
go
where
into
did
more
you,
detail. You're breaking up.
you lost me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're breaking up there, Stephanie. Yeah, you could turn off your video and see if that's any better. But I think, are you done with your side? Oh, we've totally
yeah,
lost
where
you.
did you lose me?
I don't, it, it's good. I think I just talked about project roles on the left there,
Mm.
that's assigning project roles on a per cruise basis.
Is that where you lost me?
Essentially just before that. Yep.
Okay. Oh. Uh, did I talk about the fact that we can adapt any of these
Yes. Yeah.
steps? Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Great. Are you good? Should we keep moving? Any questions there? Okay, now I'm going to share my screen. It's going to be my calendar, but I got MFP going here. Okay, now I am in the test site. I've used my little waffle button, as we call it, and I've navigated to schedule construction, right? Couldn't have redone it anyway. It's not the fastest. So we're going to go over the screen a bit, which is probably, again, a refresher for most of you guys. Oh, the test system's even slower than the real thing. But across the top, we've got a layer of menus up here. Obviously, this one is the most important, is your ship, right? Choosing your ship. Another big important button is this blue one here, which tells you whether you're working on your main schedule, which is your published schedule, or whether you're working on a draft. Oh my gosh, come on. Come on, little thing. It's still thinking. The history will show you what's happened, how your schedule has changed over time. The export button, when we get there, will show you the various reports that you can export from this. Here we go. Okay. We've got, this is the test system, BJ, so don't stress if I mess this with the schedule. It's not going to mess up your schedule. So this is the Atlantic Explorer schedule. We've got this year's schedule in here. Let's go back through this. Going through the various views. This is the grid timeline view. I use this view a lot, and you're able to drag and drop projects onto your schedule. There's also the scheduler view, which this is kind of more of an Excel spreadsheet. And the beauty of this one is it helps you identify open days that aren't scheduled, that need to be scheduled, or at least accounted for. We've got the review, which this is appropriate if you want to compare multiple schedules to each other. So you could compare multiple drafts. You could compare schedules from other ships. Unfortunately, it's really slow right now. It's really easy. You can use the plus button. Use the plus button and add, and then you can see multiple schedules on top of each other, whether it's 3 different drafts, and you can see which one works best. And then, the fleet planning, let's not do that. And there's the map, which, oh boy, I might crash it here, but the map is kind of cool because you can see the schedule and all the projects, but boy, is it a mess. So let's not even go there. But you can see where the projects are, their project locations on a map. Let's go back to grid timeline. Here, stats, also very important. This shows the period and the funded days for that period. Note that the year here is what's going to show up in your stats. So if you want to see 2025, you need to move over. Why is this not changing? Oh, it's still 2024. Oh, now it's changing. Again, it's very slow today. So seeing 2026 stats there. This is notes, schedule notes. So this is great. They've done a great job of adding notes to their schedules. And this can be important if, Rose asks in the future, why did you do this, that, or the other? And you have notes to say, oh, yeah, we had to move so-and-so over to here because of blah, 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 blah. Export, there's various reports here. I encourage you to look into and just click through them. I'm afraid it's going to take too long. But the detailed overview has a lot of details. Funding day and breakdown kind of shows your schedule more basically. Schedule view and the scheduler view shows the Excel sheet to give you a look that way. And the beta analytics is kind of like a nice little view to show other people. History and then timeline. This is important too. At first, they didn't have this, but we have various zoom levels. And so if you really need to click, if you have day-long cruises, going to the extreme zoom is really useful because it allows you to click on those small things. Let me just schedule type, publish or draft. Okay. Hannah mentioned it, but you can search for various drafts. And a great naming scheme is the schedules that the schedulers feel like are their most prominent draft, like the one they're probably going to use. Hannah and Liz go in there and they create 5 different schedules for their ships. And so, but the one they think this, as they're going through all these iterations, they say, okay, this is probably the most likely. And so they put a star in the front, and then you can search for these items, I believe, or not. Oh yeah, here they are. And these are all the cruises that are the most likely drafts. So you can change and click on those to see the most likely drafts. It is kind of a pain that, if you choose an AR schedule, an Armstrong schedule, you're going to have to change the ship to Armstrong. Just know that. All right, let me 3 dots. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you. There's 3 dots here. This first dot is the most basic. Second dot will show you. Maybe I should just work in the system.
You should just go to the live system, Alice.
Yeah. Okay. See it much faster. Schedule
All right,
construction.
Alex,
Yes.
back on the last one, the note kind of tab. I can't see
Yes.
that on the draft schedule thing that I've got up. Is that only if there's a draft been note, sorry, if a note's been added somewhere else, or how do we add notes?
No. Potentially it's because your screen is too small. Let's go back to Atlantic Explorer. Yeah, this is much faster. Could you do you have a Mac Control minus and that unzooms it, and I'm curious if it starts to show up. Or with what is it with Chrome? Window zoom. Did
Uh,
that help at
I
all?
I have a Mac and it's zoomed it out, but it's still not showing up in that tab up the
Here?
yeah.
Weird. So do you have stats?
Yep. Yeah, I've
And
got
then
grid
this weird but
timeline, main schedule, stats, got the little picture one there, and then it goes straight over to Kila Moana export history.
you don't have these two
Oh,
things?
do you have editing permissions, Luke, or
So
do you just have
that
view permissions?
I'm not sure. That could be it. I'll write that down.
Yeah,
Well, Stephanie, can you just go in there and do that?
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So if you could do that, Stephanie, that would be awesome. Okay, the other one I wanted to bring up here's the three dots under here. Three dots mean a lot in the system. So if you see three dots, you can click on it. Like here, you can create a new draft if you click on three dots. Here we've got three dots, and you've got the most basic view, right? This secondary one actually shows you, why is this not working, Stephanie? Okay, well, the secondary one shows you a view that has all the port calls, and then this, if you click it again, it'll show you a view that has the ship, and it's got more details underneath. So that's the second view is I find the best, and I'm almost wanting to make that our standard view because it allows you to see interim port calls in there. Right now, you don't know, does this cruise go to port in the middle? We don't know. Another important button here is this lock. I encourage you to use it because it prevents you from changing your schedule um, by accident, right? If it's locked, you can't do anything. But if you unlock it, you can do things. Okay, three dots, export, we talked about that, those various reports. Timeline, the zoom feature is important if you're trying to click that one day and you can't, oh, there it goes. It's very slow. So here you can see the port calls for all the various times. Like I said, it's very useful to see interim port calls too. And there is a report a problem button. So if you're having issues, I would say just call us. But you're welcome to report a problem here and we'll see that. Okay, so we got the lock button. Then we go down. So this is the top part of the screen. The next part of the screen here are the SMEs. So it's kind of another version of your project management, but it's the way that you add these to your schedule. So things that are useful here. I don't even use this grouping here. The biggest thing is this application filters. So you can see here when you click that, you can filter on what specific workflow, which equipment's being used. So you can imagine that might be important for pooled facilities, right? If CSAM wants to see who's going to be coring, or NDSF wants to know who's requesting things. Go ahead, Karina.
Oh, hi. I just had a question about the report a problem. Who does that get sent to when you submit one?
I don't actually know, Karina. That's terrible because if it goes to Baco, it comes to us. So if it's the developers, have you tried to send it and it hasn't worked?
No, I just didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, okay. The thing is, it is only a thing on this scheduled construction screen, I believe.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
we can make it more prevalent if you need it. But we're happy to just hear from you, Karina.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so going back here, marine areas, if you want to know if the Sikuliak wants to know who's going up in the Arctic, and then who's funded or not funded, right? Pending funded, you can choose that. Choose which specific ships you want that were requested. So that's important. So Hannah might go in and say, okay, I want to not just look at who requested the Ravel or the Armstrong, but also who requested some of the other globals. And so she can see all the various SMEs in here. And this is your time window. So you can say, okay, I want to see ones that requested time in between 2026 and 2027. And changing things in here then changes your list over here. So again, this is where your filters are important because you might not find it in here if you filtered your stuff too much. Okay. So the priorities over here are seen throughout the whole system. And the priorities that are in there right now were put in there by the scheduling committee, I don't know, last year sometime. You can search on a lot of different stuff in this text box here. Now we can see all of Mark, anyone whose name is Mark. You can put a number in there, 2227. If a PI comes to you and says, oh, this is my ID, you can type it in there and find it. And again, if you can't find it, probably because you filtered it too much. Okay. So this is a pretty powerful search button right there. And then this is another select column. So if you don't want to see all this stuff, you don't have to. But on the left side here, you can see these are the ports that were ships that were requested, ports that were requested, and then days, yada, 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 location. So one other button I really wanted to point out here is this settings button here. And so there are two different settings here. Stack events overlapping dates. So you can choose to this is what happens when you click the include button, okay? So if you choose to put it in the middle where it's supposed to go, it'll blow your whole schedule up, right? So you have this beautiful schedule and then you click, if your setting is set to the one on the left and you click include, the system will put it where it's supposed to go or where they requested, but then it pushes all your other stuff out of the way, right? So I always say, put it on top and I'll figure out where to put it, right? And then positioning, again, you can say include the default ship in the middle of the requested date range. This is the same thing, or would you rather put it at the end? And so your choice there. If you put it on top, it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to stack, which way you're going to do the items depends, right? So that's a really key little setting to have right there. I just changed yours, BJ. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so then these are just your various other specific events that are available that you can put on your schedule. Let me see where click three dots, current schedule, draft. Okay, let's go back to test just so that I don't mess anything up here. Current schedule, draft from a current schedule. So right now, Luke, you hopefully will have it soon, but this three dots, you can create a new draft, right? And just to go into this, you can create a new draft, you name your draft, and then you say who it's associated with. And that's important because you just say, your institution, because that way you can see all those schedules. Do you want to base it on a main schedule? So if you want to just like make a copy of your current schedule, you can say, yeah, I want it based on my main schedule from this date to this date and be able to play around with that. Or not, it'll just be a blank schedule. You can sketch mode, so only you can see that. Draft mode or a draft that can only be edited by me. So those are your choices there. So let's go in, let's see if we can find a draft that we could play with here. Well,
Hey, Alice.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm still a little confused by what you mean by main schedule. Like
Published. Sorry, your published schedule.
Okay,
So
that's
main schedule is a published schedule. This is just verbiage that was there before. So yes, your main schedule is your published schedule, and that's always a good thing to look at.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alice, can I make a quick note? I think it's
Sure.
important. So if you switch over to draft, but the lock here is locked on the public schedule, if it's locked, but you switched over to draft, you won't be able to make changes to your draft schedules. We do have several folks that encounter this issue.
So you have to unlock it from your main schedule and then go to a draft.
Mhm.
Okay, good note to
Yep.
know. Let's write that down. Okay, so let's just do a quick one. I'm going to just show you what it is to include this stuff. I'm on the test system, no problem. So you can take, oh boy, what did I just do? I just included it. Okay, it's tricky. You can click the include button and not realize you're clicking it like I just did. I usually try to drag it onto there. And when you include it onto your main schedule, a lot of stuff happens in the background. So that's why it's taking so long. If you include it onto your draft, it's not a big deal. Maybe we'll go back to a draft. Is there a test draft? Let's just do it. New draft. Test. ABD. UNOS. Do I have that? Yep. Okay, I'm going to base it on the main schedule, the Atlantic Explorer from July 1st to November 27th. Save. Okay. So here is the my draft schedule. My draft schedule. And this is, I know it's a draft. It says test APD. It doesn't say main program. Always good to look at. To include something onto here. Why is it not? Okay, it shows I haven't been in here a while. You can click on it and just drag it onto your schedule, right? If it gets there. Okay, so it's telling me, it tells you that it's already on other SMEs. Okay.
Draft.
Drafts, yes. So now it's on my schedule. Some features that you can do from here. Come on. Features that you can do from here. If you get your little cursor to do this little wingding on the side here, you can click on it and make it shorter or longer, right? Same thing on both sides. Or an easier way I find, if you click, so there's two views. Currently there's two views. This is being updated, but there's two views. There's a view, what we call the voyage view. And if you click just above it, you get this, which we call our voyage view. So here you can check a port, Honolulu, and then you can specify your dates. Come on. Specify dates. You can give it an alternate ID. And so there are institutions, several institutions use alternate IDs. Thompson uses TN dash something and a number. Sekuliak uses SKQ and a number. And you can also change the number here of days at sea. You can change your final port. So this is what we call our voyage view. I just want to make sure I click everything, edit dates, edit. Oh, another thing you can do at voyage view. Oh, this cruise needs to go into port for a day. So you click this three dots. Okay, can't see it, but if you hover over it, you got three dots, add a port call. And so now I've got my my cruise, my SME is here and my SME is here. And here is this interim port call. And so again, you can add different ports, port locations. You can add when you're coming in, when you're departing. There is some trickiness that we're not going to go into. One second, Hannah. No, we're not going to go into right now about this and getting your funding days right. But I just want you to know that that's how you add an interim port call for now. Go ahead, Hannah.
Can you hover over the other three dots that's really close to those three dots? So those turquoise three dots are the right ones, but
yes,
the other three dots, can you click on those?
Yeah,
don't add a port that way. It won't work right. And it's like really close to the right way. So just those turquoise ones are the right ones. And then if you're ever deleting an intermediate port call or a leg, there's a right way and a wrong way.
Go for it.
Well, go ahead and I think there's three dots there.
Yep, and there.
So that's the right way or the wrong way?
I think that's the right way.
The right way.
Yeah.
And then there's another way. Maybe the sideways three dots also has a delete option.
No, the wrong way would be to delete the green box. Three dots, green box.
Right. So you delete the port call, not the leg.
Right. So just remember the three dots in the center are a good thing, are good. Here, add port call. And we'll go into the funding in details of these craziness in the next one. And then, so that's the voyage view, clicking right above it and you get this voyage view. And then we've got what we call the project view. And so noting here, it has all the details. We didn't put in a port call, load dates when you're leaving, departing, project structure. So this will list all of the SMEs that are associated with that cruise. And we'll get into a piggybacks in a second. That's here. And it says how many days are at sea associated with that project. Funding. So this is important. This is where you outline where your funding is, how your funding is allocated. So it was 27 days at sea. The system calculates these from the dates that you put in here. Okay. It does get tricky when you have interim port calls. But let's not go into that right now. Important things for you to do is to click your funding source and then click which workflow it's associated with. And right now it's pretty straightforward because we only have one SME associated with this, right? But let's look at this one, this BATS cruise here. We click on that. Am I on his main schedule? Okay, I can't do anything here. You'll see here's the project. Here's the main project. And then he has 2 piggyback projects onto here. 5 days are associated with this, and then 1 day is associated with each of these piggyback projects. And funding, so BJ gets to decide which project is this funding associated with and who's funding it. And then again, how the funding is laid out here. And here's project notes. So these are public notes or private notes. Obviously private notes are to be seen by you and I believe all the schedulers, but I should verify that. Hannah, you might know that. And then the public notes are obviously available to the public. So just be aware. From here, you can also see their actual application and their equipment that they requested and that sort of thing, and personnel planning, which we're not actually using yet. So just remember, there's a voyage view and a project view. Project notes. Okay, we got that. Okay, let me go back into here. And let's talk about piggyback projects. So here we've got a Hydra Station S. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, it's really slow.
You can work with the draft, Alice. It's not going to affect the public schedule.
Oh, it is. You're right. Okay, I just have to add. Okay, I can do that. So to add a piggyback project, what you do is you click on this little plus button. Okay, and then usually it's a good thing to know what the project's called, and usually you do. BATS often has piggyback projects. Liz or OOI often, or cabled array has sometimes 5 big piggyback projects associated with it. So you can select this by searching for it by a number, or I think you can do, come on, test. Here. So here, or you can, if you have the PI's name, if you have the name of the project, or if you have the number, I think the number is probably the best thing to do. We'll put that on there and then simply clicking save. And it says application is already planned on the following draft. Sure. Okay. So now you'll see here, though, that there's only there's 27 days, but nothing's associated with this Blue Heron trip. So, they're actually bringing 1 day of funding. Oops. So, okay. Why is this not working, guys?
I think first drop down the 27.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Hannah. So, as Hannah mentioned, it's not working. Open for piggyback projects. Okay, you got to click open for piggyback projects. And then it's not working. Usually you can change the days here. Oh, okay. Stephanie, here's a bug. So as Hannah said, you got to subtract a couple days from here and then add them to this project. We will make sure that's working. And then whatever you do here is then reflected on funding. So if you added see right here, it's 0 days. But if we had switched 2 days over to that schedule, then we've got to that project, we'd have 2 funded days here and 25 days here. And again, the matter of, so that's how the days are allocated. And then those will show up almost immediately into your stats there. Disseminate days. So just remember, if you're trying to get the funded days here, you want to make sure that your project structures here is correct. So I will figure out why that wasn't working and send you guys a note. Okay, so other things you can do, of course, you don't just do science cruises, right? So there are other items, some of which these are our other possible events, we call them. So there's general upkeep maintenance, inspection, all of this, and it's just a matter of dragging and dropping. I want you to note that some of these items can have funding associated with them, but most cannot. And so if you have that funding tab, then funding can be associated with it. But if you don't, then there's no way to put funding associated with it. Let's see here. Like here, we have, well, you can add it to general upkeep and maintenance. So just if you have a question about adding funding to some of these import days or things, then let us know. Another important one is this import science day. And so there's times when, we talked about like a cruise will be overseas and then they come back and you're going to offload in your home port and you want to assign that day to a project. And so you can use this import science day to charge a day to the funding agencies. All these others are pretty self-explanatory. Let's show a quick transit here. And the beauty of transits, as we know, transits can be complicated because they're split up between multiple projects. So I'm hoping this will show up. Okay, here we go. So on the transit cruise, you can add multiple funding agencies. So I'm gonna charge 5 days to NSF, and that's funded, and then we're gonna add another one. And so really only 6 days will be to NSF and these days will be to DOE, 4 days, 3 days there, and we can add another one. So that's, and if you don't know anything about the transit policy, let me know and I can send you the actual transit policy, which is how you break up the days equitably amongst the projects for those sorts of transits. Okay. So the last thing I just want to go over for this one, did we have any questions? Oh, Hannah, you've got a question. Go for it.
Sorry, with the transit funding, that's the only place I use the notes. And I'll put
Oh,
in the
good.
project number because you're just putting the agency that's funding, but it's not linked to any project. So I'll put that in the project notes.
Oh, smart. Okay. Yeah, right. So you'll link it to a specific SME just so it's there. Yeah.
SME or NSF award number.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, and that's useful for Rose and all and everyone reviewing these schedules. Note that if you got to click the button to say which status or else it's not going to show up in your stats, right? So just make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's in all of this. Also important in
Alex,
science, yes.
can you go back to the last screen?
I don't remember where it was.
This one, workflow specified. This one is important specifically for Blue Heron and Sarah Rachel Carson, or Hui if you're trying, and Scripps. If you're trying to if if you have multiple cruise planning workflows, for example, Carson has a multi-day
Yeah.
and a single day, you do need to select which specific workflow you want to use for this cruise. Otherwise, you would have if after you publish and you have an incorrect workflow, you would have to remove it from your public schedule and then do publishing all over again. So this is an important step, specifying which specific workflow you want to assign this to.
Right.
Mhm.
And mostly that there's only a few institutions that deals with, right? So
Yeah.
okay. Then other ones, publishing your schedule. So my draft is absolutely fantastic and I want to publish it. I'm not going to publish it, but now you'll see I'm in a draft, right? And my three dots has new buttons. You can edit the draft, you can create a new draft, delete this draft, duplicate it, or publish it. I'm going to click this, but don't worry, so it asks you specifically what ship, which part of your draft you want to publish. So like this year, Hannah went ahead and she published just the first part of the Ravel schedule and got that on her main schedule, her published schedule. And then where you want to publish it to. And just to make it confusing, it says program here, which is your main schedule, which is your published schedule. And then you click publish and it goes through the work. So what happens when you push this button, publish, I'm going to put cancel here. When you push the publish button, it will then generate workflows in the background. So it does take some time and it does take some processing for going on in the background, and that's why it'll take a while for this to happen. That's all I was going to go over, and it is about an hour, so I don't want to overload you. Again, we're going to talk more about the tricky situations. Are there any questions that people have so far? Is any of that new? No. Boy, you guys are stunned.
Alice, if you click on the piggyback project, it should work. Check.
Okay, what happened?
Check. Click on funding and then back again. And then try doing
Okay.
the lower one.
Nothing's happened. Oh.
It visually added to your.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so pencils are also important. Click the pencil, you can edit. So I'm putting 3 days to this, and you'll see it automatically makes this down to 24 days, and then that is reflected over here. Also note that the only funding sources available are those that are associated with the SME. So if it's not associated with so we've had PIs call up and say, oh, well, Navy's going to give me another day. Well, they need to go in, the SME needs to be updated to add another day. And then then the Navy's funding source will be added here. Don, go ahead.
This is just a general question, but if you could go to your other events.
Yep.
Okay. Now, obviously for the superintendents, this is what we send to Rose and Tim for the schedule. So every day has to be accounted for pretty much. So like when we're in port, we don't work the weekend. So I use the standby days for weekends. So I got to shift
Yes.
things around. But is there a way, like if you drag and drop, which one is it? Standby day. It puts such a big block in there, and then you got to shift things around. Is there a way to make it smaller? Because you could always expand it to fill the gap. But I always find that when you try and drop it in there, it shifts everything, and then you got to move things around. I mean, I'm nitpicking here, but it's like,
No. So we can do that. So if it's shifting things around, you need to use your little thing here and say that you're going at the end or going on top. Okay. I think that's important. But we can, unfortunately, in this view, it's set. But you could, Don, go over to scheduler view and say, okay, here's 5. Oh, come on back now. Oh boy.
yeah, because I really like the feature how you just grab the one end and then, shrink it, or you click on the gray part and then you can
Oh,
just
here we
change the
go.
dates and then it fills it in.
So, oops, sorry, I went too far. Okay. So the good thing about this view is you can say, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to add the SME from a map. I'm going to add a port, add a cruise, or I'm going to add standby days.
Okay.
Here, there's import science days. So those will automatically be added. That makes sense? So you could go through your schedule and be like, ding, ding, add 2 days here, still thinking, other, and call them standby days. That make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So there are beauties to the different views. Like here, there's an open day that's going to need to be accounted for. Here's 3 open days here that'll need to be accounted for. That are harder to see when you're looking at the grid timeline. I find the grid timeline is nice to just kind of see the big picture there. Any other questions? Luke, this is new to you. Are you, is it overwhelming? Is it making sense?
It's a lot, but it's perfect. It gives me that broad overview of everything, just writing down some stuff and then honing in my questions, which will be ready for when Stephanie comes and visits us. So
Perfect.
hopefully I'll have a better idea of the stuff that I'm missing. That and
Great.
part 2 of this as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and know that the other schedulers, right, Hannah and Liz are like experts at this, right? It is a tricky system. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes and it's not worth beating your head against the wall for 20 minutes when you can pick up the phone and we can call you.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate that.
yep. Others, Dave Walters, this is sort of new for you.
I'm feeling pretty good. Stephanie has definitely answered a lot of questions for me over the last few months. So I really
Good.
appreciate this, though. I learned a lot about the piggybacking ones and what some of the other views are